I ended my marriage instead of agreeing to babysit my sister-in-law's kids for one chaotic weekend, and honestly, it turned out to be the best decision I've ever made. When my wife hit me with an ultimatum, I thought we were arguing about something small. I had no idea it was about to blow up my entire life. For context, my name's Ethan. I'm 32, and up until a couple months ago, I thought I had a pretty solid marriage. My wife, Lauren, and I had been together for 5 years total, 3 of those married. We weren't one of those overly dramatic couples. No constant fights, no passive-aggressive social media posts. We actually liked each other. We laughed. We had routines. It felt stable. We got married in a small backyard ceremony, nothing flashy, just close friends, family, and a barbecue afterward. No debt, no stress. Honestly, one of the smartest decisions we made. I work as a logistics coordinator for a regional distribution company, nothing glamorous but steady. I make around $82,000 a year. Lauren works as a front office supervisor at a dental practice and brings in about $45,000. From day one, we agreed to keep finances separate. Not because we didn't trust each other, but because we both saw what messy money situations did to other couples. We split shared expenses proportionally, paid our own personal stuff, and it worked. The house we lived in? That was mine. I bought it a couple years before I met her, back when interest rates didn't feel like a punishment. It wasn't huge, but it was comfortable, and more importantly, it was mine outright except for a manageable mortgage. After we got married, Lauren moved in. It made sense. She'd been renting a tiny one-bedroom that cost almost as much as my monthly payment. Now here's where things start to matter. About 6 months into our marriage, her car died. Completely. A 2010 Honda that gave up in the middle of traffic during rush hour. She was stuck for hours waiting for a tow. The repair estimate? Over $3,000. The car itself wasn't even worth that anymore. So I stepped in. I co-signed for her to get a newer vehicle so she could qualify for a decent interest rate. The loan ended up in both our names, but I was listed as the primary. Same with the insurance, it was all under me. At the time, it felt like the obvious thing to do. We were a team, right? And for a while, everything stayed good. We had a rhythm. I'd get up early, hit the gym before work. She'd take her time in the mornings, usually rushing out the door with coffee in one hand and her bag in the other. I'd handle breakfast, nothing fancy, just eggs or oatmeal, while she somehow managed to burn toast at least twice a week. We texted throughout the day. Not constantly, just enough to check in. After work, we'd cook or grab takeout, sit on the couch, and actually talk about our day. Weekends were simple. Netflix marathons, trying out new restaurants, or hanging out with my buddy Marcus to watch games. Normal life. Comfortable life. Then everything changed about 6 months ago. Lauren got a call from her older sister, Jessica. Jessica was 34, recently divorced, and suddenly a full-time single mom to 2 boys, Caleb, 6, and Noah, 8. And those kids? Let's just say they weren't easy. Caleb had non-stop energy, like someone wired him to a battery pack and forgot the off switch. He'd climb furniture, jump off things he shouldn't even be near, and act first, think never. Noah was worse in a different way. He had that, I'm smarter than every adult in the room attitude, and he pushed boundaries just to see what would happen. Together they were chaos. Loud, unpredictable chaos. Jessica had been living a few states away with her now ex-husband. From what I gathered, the guy eventually got tired of supporting a situation he didn't sign up for. Things fell apart fast. So she packed up her life and moved back to be closer to family. At first, she stayed with their parents, but that lasted about a week before it became clear it wasn't going to work long-term. Too crowded. Too stressful. Too much noise. So she found a small 2-bedroom apartment about 15 minutes from our place. The first time they came over, it was manageable. They stayed for maybe an hour. The boys were loud, sure, but nothing extreme. Jessica looked exhausted but was holding it together. We ordered pizza, made small talk, and it felt like one of those adjustment period situations. I remember thinking, okay, this might not be so bad. I had no idea that was the calm before everything went completely off the rails. That first visit? Honestly, it felt normal. The kids sat on the couch watching cartoons. The adults talked, caught up, laughed a little. Just typical family stuff. Lauren was genuinely happy. You could see it in the way she smiled when her sister was around. They used to be close growing up, but distance and life pulled them apart over the years. So having Jessica back? That meant something to her. At the time, I respected that. I just didn't realize what it was going to cost me. Because by the second visit, things started to crack. Caleb knocked over a lamp in the living room. Not bumped, knocked. Full send. It shattered on the floor. $50 later, I replaced it. Noah? He decided my leather couch was apparently a trampoline. Shoes on. Jumping. Launching himself like he was training for the Olympics. And Jessica? She barely looked up from her phone. Every now and then she'd mumble something soft like, "Hey sweetie, let's keep it down," without even making eye contact. The kids ignored her completely. They weren't being corrected, they were being observed. That's when I started feeling it, that low-level frustration creeping in. But I kept it to myself. Then came visit number 3. That's when Jessica asked the question. "Hey, would you guys mind watching the boys for a few hours on Saturday? I've got a job interview." A few hours. That sounded reasonable, right? I mean, it's just 2 kids. How hard could it be? Yeah, that was my first mistake. That Saturday morning I made a decision. If I was going into this situation, I wasn't doing it alone. So I called my best friend Marcus. Marcus is the kind of guy who's permanently single, not because he can't commit, but because he's watched enough chaos in other people's relationships to opt out entirely. He works in insurance, makes good money, and values peace like it's oxygen. When I told him what I needed, there was a long pause on the phone. Then he sighed. "You owe me for this. I'll buy you lunch for a month. Make it 2. Deal." He showed up right before noon, with a case of energy drinks and the expression of a man heading into battle. Jessica dropped the kids off at 12 o'clock. Her interview was at 1 o'clock. I didn't question the timing. That was my second mistake. The second her car disappeared down the street, it was like a switch flipped. Caleb immediately started roaming the house like he was scanning for destruction points. Anything fragile? Target acquired. Noah walked in like he owned the place. "I want pizza," he announced. "Put my channel on the TV. And what's the Wi-Fi password?" "It's noon," I said. "You literally just ate." "I'm hungry." "You're always hungry." "That sounds like a you problem." Marcus slowly turned his head toward me. "These are the kids who wrecked your stuff last time, and you said yes again? It didn't seem this bad before." He stared at me. "You have the survival instincts of a guy in a horror movie who hears a noise and goes to investigate." We tried to manage it. We really did. We put on a movie, something age-appropriate, easy, low-risk. Gave them snacks, popcorn, drinks. That lasted maybe 12 minutes. Caleb got bored and started jumping from couch to chair like the floor was lava. Noah decided popcorn wasn't food, it was ammunition. Marcus caught a handful straight to the face. He sat there, slowly pulling kernels out of his beard. "This," he said calmly, "is psychological warfare." "It's been like 40 minutes, I said. "It feels like 4 decades, he shot back. "Time is broken in this house." He checked his watch. "I swear this thing just went backward." Then things got weirder. At one point, Caleb figured out that if he buried his face into the couch cushions and screamed, it made this muffled, echoing noise. So naturally, he did that. 420 straight minutes. No breaks. No reason. Just screaming into furniture like it was his full-time job. Marcus stared at me like he was reconsidering every life choice that led him here. "Why did I agree to this?" he asked. "Because you're a good friend. I'm actively reconsidering that friendship." Meanwhile, Noah found my Bluetooth speaker. Connected his tablet. And within seconds the entire house was filled with loud, obnoxious sound effects. Fart noises, screaming clips, random chaos at max volume. There was no escaping it. By hour 2, Caleb discovered the garage. Specifically, my toolbox. I walked in to find him proudly holding a wrench, next to my bike, with the front wheel completely removed. "I fixed it," I said, trying to stay calm as I put it back together. He watched me carefully. Then the second I stepped away, he took it apart again. Same exact way. Like it was a game. "And Noah?" He switched targets. "Marcus." Relentlessly. "Why are you so old? Why don't you have kids? Why does your beard look like that? Do you live with your mom?" Marcus blinked slowly. The kid had a talent, like a sixth sense, for finding insecurities and pressing directly on them. "I'm pretty sure it's illegal to abandon children at a fire station if they're not yours," Marcus muttered. He looked close to snapping. Then they found the pantry. Specifically, my protein powder. Caleb grabbed it like he just discovered treasure. "Chocolate milk," he yelled. Before I could stop him, he dumped a massive scoop into a glass, added tap water, didn't mix it, and chugged it. Immediately, he gagged, and spit it everywhere. White powder splattered across the floor, the cabinets, the counter. "I don't like it," he said. "It's not chocolate milk," I replied, staring at the mess. "Why do you have bad chocolate?" "It's not chocolate. It's a supplement." "Then why did you drink it without asking?" He just stared at me. Blank. No answer. That's when it hit me. This wasn't babysitting. This was survival. And we still had hours to go. Around 3:30 my phone buzzed. It was Lauren. Hey. Jessica's interview is running long. She's gonna be at least another couple hours. Maybe 3. I just stared at the screen. You said 4 hours. I typed it out. Her reply came fast. Plans change. Marcus leaned over my shoulder. I want a new best friend, he said flatly. At that point we were desperate. So we ordered pizza thinking maybe food would calm them down. That was a mistake. Caleb took 2 bites, made a face like he'd just been personally offended, and pushed the plate away. This is gross. Noah, on the other hand, ate 4 slices in under 10 minutes. Then leaned back dramatically and said, I think I'm lactose intolerant. My stomach hurts. Marcus blinked. He wasn't lactose intolerant 10 minutes ago. Around 5 o'clock things escalated again. Caleb found a pack of permanent markers in my desk drawer. I don't know how. I thought they were hidden. Next thing I know he's covered in ink. Face, arms, stomach. He looked like a tiny inmate who had just gotten out of a very intense tattoo session. Marcus completely lost it. He was laughing so hard he had to sit down. I need pictures, he wheezed. For legal reasons. I took a few. Texted them to Lauren. Her response? Oh no, grinning face with sweat. That was it. Not helpful. Meanwhile, Noah had returned to the garage. Apparently he had unfinished business. By the time I caught him, he had moved on from the bike to the kitchen cabinets. He was crouched there with a screwdriver, proudly loosening the hinges on one of the doors. What are you doing? I asked. I'm fixing it. The cabinet door literally fell off as he said it. You broke it. It was already broken. It wasn't broken until you touched it. He just shrugged and walked away. No apology. No hesitation. Like destruction was just part of his daily routine. By then Marcus had fully shut down. He was sitting on the floor back against the wall, staring into nothing. This is building character, he muttered. You don't sound convinced. I'm not, he said quietly. I feel like I'm being emotionally audited. They finally left at 6:30. 6.5 hours. It felt like we had survived something. And then Jessica showed up. Looking refreshed. Like she just walked out of a salon. Hair done. Makeup perfect. New outfit. Relaxed. Happy. The interview went amazing, she said, smiling. Thank you guys so much. Seriously, you're lifesavers. I looked around the house. The wrecked living room. The damaged cabinets. The half-destroyed bike. Marcus, who looked like he needed professional help. Yeah, I said slowly. No problem. The second the door closed behind them, Marcus turned to me. Never again. I agree. No, I'm serious. So am I. He pointed at me. If those kids were the only people on Earth with water, and I was on fire. He paused. I'd figure something else out. Fair. I need food, he added. And maybe therapy. Lauren thought the whole thing was sweet. She said Jessica really appreciated us. That we had stepped up. I told her clearly. That was a one-time thing. She smiled. Of course. I wouldn't ask again unless it was an emergency. 2 weeks later. There was an emergency. Jessica called Thursday night. She had a date. Her first one since the divorce. She really needs this, Lauren told me. Just a few hours on Saturday. Please? Then came the look. The one that says you already know you're going to say yes. I hesitated. I knew better. And still. I agreed. I called Marcus. Absolutely not. Come on, I need backup. I said never again. I meant it. You don't even have boundaries that strong. I'm getting it tattooed, he said. Across my chest. Never babysitting again. You don't have any tattoos. I will after this call. 3 months of free lunch. Pause. And you cover my therapy. Deal. Saturday showed up like a countdown clock. Marcus arrived early. This time he came prepared. Snacks, drinks, and a Nintendo Switch. I'm thinking we bribe them with video games, he said. Smart plan. In theory. Jessica dropped the kids off at 2 o'clock. I'll be back around 6, she said. Maybe 7 at the latest. The second she left, Marcus looked at me. She's not coming back at 7. We both knew he was right. Noah immediately spotted the Switch. I want that. It's not yours, Marcus said. Noah dropped to the floor and started screaming. Not crying. Just screaming. Loud. Sure. Relentless. Caleb looked at him and joined in. Now there were 2 of them. Screaming in unison. For absolutely no reason. Marcus looked toward the ceiling. I think the neighbors are calling the cops. They should. We managed to calm them down with snacks. Fruit, crackers, juice, actual responsible choices. They ate for about 10 minutes. Then Caleb said he needed the bathroom. I took him upstairs. The second he got in, he locked the door and started singing. Not songs. Just loud, endless, random noise. For 20 minutes straight. He refused to come out. Meanwhile, downstairs, Noah had found another permanent marker. I don't even know where it came from. Kids like that have a sixth sense for things they shouldn't have. By the time I got back, the dining table was covered. Drawings everywhere. Lines, shapes. What I think was supposed to be a dinosaur, but looked more like a demon going through a personal crisis. Marcus was on his knees with a cleaning spray, trying to fix it. It's not coming off, he said. It looks worse now. I made it worse, he admitted. And that's when I realized something. This wasn't just chaos anymore. This was a pattern. And it wasn't going to stop on its own. There's a gray smear across the table now, Marcus said slowly, staring at the damage. It looks like a ghost tried to wipe something off and gave up halfway. He leaned back, exhausted. I'm moving to Canada. A few minutes later, Caleb finally came out of the bathroom like nothing had happened. I'm bored, he announced. Of course he was. And that's when he started exploring. Not casually, systematically. Every cabinet. Every drawer. Every closet. Nothing was off limits. I followed him for a bit, trying to stay ahead of whatever disaster he'd find next, until I realized I'd lost track of him for maybe 2 minutes. 2 minutes was all it took. He had found my wedding album. He carried it outside and left it in the garage, right near the edge. 10 minutes later, it started raining. I found it too late. The pages were soaked, ink bleeding, photos warped and stuck together, memories ruined. Marcus walked up behind me, looked down at the damage, then back at me. This is a sign, man, he said quietly. When a 6-year-old destroys your wedding photos, the universe is trying to tell you something. I didn't even respond. I just stood there. Around 4 o'clock, we made another attempt at restoring order. Movie, snacks, calm environment. 7 minutes. That's how long it lasted. Worse than before. Caleb suddenly started crying. I want my mom. Noah, without missing a beat, snapped. Shut up. That was it. Caleb swung first. Noah hit back harder. And within seconds they were full-on wrestling in my living room like it was a pay-per-view event. Marcus jumped up. Are we allowed to break this up? We have to. We separated them, barely. One in the living room. One in the kitchen. That didn't help. Caleb immediately opened the fridge. Started pulling things out. Eggs, ketchup, mayo. All opened. All left sitting out. Noah cranked the TV volume all the way up and started flipping channels at a speed that made it impossible to even focus. Marcus looked at me, eyes wide. We are living inside a nightmare. That's already been established. At 5 o'clock, Noah announced, again, that he was starving. We had fed him not even an hour earlier. Didn't matter. So we made him a sandwich. Simple. Easy. He took one bite. Made a face. This is gross. And then, he threw it. Straight at the wall. Peanut butter and jelly exploded across the kitchen like abstract art. Caleb burst out laughing. Then threw his juice box. Now there was sticky liquid slowly dripping down the wall. Marcus stared at it. I'm never having kids, he said for what felt like the 5th time. I'm scheduling a vasectomy Monday morning. 6 o'clock came. Nothing. 7 o'clock came. Still nothing. My phone buzzed. Lauren. Jessica's date is going really well. She might be a little late, maybe closer to 9. I just stood there reading it over and over. Marcus sat down heavily on the floor. I think I'm going to cry, he said. Around 8 o'clock, things somehow got even worse. Caleb found my laptop. Opened it. Started pressing keys randomly. I don't know how, but within minutes the entire system language was changed. I stared at the screen. I don't even know what this says anymore. At the same time, Noah had reconnected to the Bluetooth speaker. And now the house was filled with loud, aggressive noise, music, yelling, chaotic sound. It wasn't even clear what it was. Just added to the madness. By 9:00, my house didn't feel like a home anymore. It looked like the aftermath of something. Food on the walls. Furniture out of place. Random stains I couldn't identify. Toys everywhere. Marcus was sitting on the floor, completely checked out, staring into nothing. We could just leave, he said quietly. Just walk out. That's illegal. He paused. Are we sure? Pretty sure. He sighed. Everything fun is illegal. Jessica finally showed up at 9:47. Almost 10. She walked in smiling. Relaxed. Glowing. Like she'd just had the best night of her life. The date was amazing, she said. I think he might be the one. 3 weeks. That's how long she'd known him. She looked around. Were they good? Lauren, on the phone, had already told her yes. So she believed it. The second the door closed behind them, Marcus turned to me slowly. We're done. What? This friendship? Over. Come on. I'm serious, he said. I'm blocking your number, moving states, and changing my identity. You don't mean that. I have never meant anything more in my life. That night I sat down with Lauren, and I made it clear. We are never doing that again. Ever. I don't care if it's an emergency. I don't care what happens. We are not watching those kids again. She went quiet. Then she said I was overreacting. They're just kids, she said. They're going through a lot right now. We need to support Jessica. I shook my head. I was supportive. Twice. My house is destroyed. Marcus is questioning reality. My wedding photos are ruined. My table is permanently stained. I'm done. And that should have been the end of it. But it wasn't. Not even close. That's when everything started to shift. Not all at once. Slowly, then all at once. Jessica began coming over more often. At first it wasn't with the kids, just her. She and Lauren would sit in the living room for hours talking. Not normal conversations either. It was always the same themes. Empowerment, independence, living your truth. At first I didn't think much of it, but then it started to feel different. Like every conversation was building towards something. Then came the girls' nights. The first one was a Wednesday. Lauren got home around midnight, laughing, energized, talking a mile a minute about how freeing it felt to just let go. She forgot her keys. Had to wake me up by pounding on the door. No apology. I brushed it off. Everyone needs a night out. Then it happened again. That Friday. This time she came home around 2 a.m. Stumbling. Knocking into the hallway table. Laughing at herself like it was all part of the experience. And then it kept happening. Week after week. Sometimes twice a week. They started going out constantly. Bars. Lounges. Events. And these empowerment circles. That's what they called them. To me they sounded a little too intense. Like a self-help group that never really turns off. But according to Lauren, they were healing. Then I started noticing the changes. Subtle at first. Then impossible to ignore. She started dressing differently. More polished. More attention-grabbing. Not wrong, just not her. More makeup. Tighter outfits. Sometimes she could barely walk comfortably in what she was wearing. But it wasn't just the clothes. It was the way she talked. Everything became a phrase. I need to prioritize myself. I'm finally discovering who I am. Society puts too much pressure on women. Every issue. Every disagreement. Every responsibility. Explained away with the same language. Then came the spending. Packages started showing up. Clothes. Accessories. Things I knew she couldn't afford. Her credit card statements started piling up on the counter. I wasn't trying to snoop, but they weren't hidden. Balances climbing past $6,000 and still going. And then, she just stopped contributing at home. No more cooking. No more shared routines. Dinner became takeout, or, I'm not hungry. Laundry piled up until it became a problem. I didn't step in. We were both adults. That was always the deal. One night I finally said something. This isn't working, I told her. She shrugged. Then I'll just do what I want. And that's when the request came back. Jessica needed help again. Of course she did. This time she had a new guy. Really amazing, apparently. They wanted to go away for the weekend. Saturday and Sunday. 2 full days. She'll pay us, Lauren added quickly. It's just this once. I didn't even hesitate. No. She blinked. What? No. We're not doing that. Her expression changed instantly. Cool. It's just 1 weekend. It's 2 days with kids who destroyed this house last time. She's my sister. She needs help. Then you can watch them. That's not fair. I stared at her. What's not fair is you volunteering my time without even asking me. What's not fair is expecting me to give up my entire weekend after what happened last time. She switched tactics. Guilt. They've been through so much, she said. Kids act out when they're dealing with trauma. Jessica is trying to move forward with her life. We should be supporting her. I did support her, I said. Twice. I'm done. You're being selfish. I'm being clear. The answer is no. That's my boundary. She didn't like that word. Boundary. She went silent, walked into the bedroom, slammed the door, and didn't speak to me for 2 days. When she finally did, it wasn't a conversation. It was a lecture. I'm disappointed in you, she said. I expected more from my husband. A real partner would step up. I looked at her. A real partner respects boundaries. That's when I knew I had just made things worse. A few days later I came home from work and walked into something I wasn't expecting. Lauren was sitting in the living room. So was Jessica. And her mom. All three of them. Waiting. We need to talk, her mom said. Of course we did. Jessica went first. Tears ready. Voice shaking. Talking about how hard her life had been. How much she was sacrificing. How she just wanted one weekend to feel normal again. Then her mom stepped in. Talking about family. Obligation. Support. How, this is what families do. Lauren didn't say much. She just sat there. Arms crossed. Staring at me like I was the problem. You have no idea what it's like to be a single mother, Jessica said. That's right, I replied. Because they're not my kids. Her mom sighed. That long, disappointed kind. When I raised my daughters, we believed in helping each other. Then you watch them, she added. Your family too. I have my own commitments, she continued. Book club classes. I nodded. So you're busy? So am I. Jessica started crying harder. Said she never expected this from me. That I was being cruel. That I was letting her down. And sitting there, surrounded, being painted as the bad guy in my own house. I realized something. This wasn't a request anymore. It was pressure. And it was only going to get worse. The call started around 7 p.m. First voicemail, Lauren crying. Begging me to call her back. Saying we could fix this. Second voicemail, completely different tone. Angry. Calling me a coward for running away instead of facing my marriage. The third one? That's when everything clicked. I could hear Jessica in the background. Clear as day. Whispering. Coaching. Tell him he's making a mistake. Say you'll go to counseling. Don't let him walk away. I just sat there, listening. And then I turned my phone face down. I didn't respond to a single message. At 8:30 things escalated. Lauren showed up at Marcus's apartment. Banging on the door. Crying. Yelling my name. Marcus didn't even open it fully. He doesn't want to talk to you, he said through the door. This is between me and my husband, she shouted. Not anymore, Marcus replied. It's not. He's done. She tried to push past him. That didn't go well. Marcus isn't the kind of guy you push through. She stopped in the hallway, completely unraveling. I didn't mean it, she cried. I was just stressed. We can fix this. Marcus didn't even hesitate. Get your stuff out, he said. Or it's getting donated. Silence. Then footsteps. She left. She called 17 more times that night. 17. I silenced my phone. And for the first time in weeks, everything felt quiet. Friday morning I went back to the house. She was at work. I changed the locks. All of them. Front door. Back door. Garage. Then I started packing. Clothes. Makeup. Bathroom stuff. All of it. Even that live, laugh, love sign she insisted on hanging in the kitchen. I had hidden it in the pantry months ago. Still annoyed me. Into the box it went. By the time I was done, 23 boxes. Every single one labeled. Organized. Done. As I packed, I started noticing things. Little things. 3 unopened packages I had paid for. Subscription boxes charged to my card. Her upgrading the Netflix account without asking. Nothing huge. But together, they told a story. A slow shift. One-sided. Saturday Jessica showed up. Alone. She started pounding on the door like she owned the place. I didn't open it. She stood outside yelling for 15 minutes. Then she threatened to call the police. I raised my voice just enough for her to hear. You're trespassing. I've already called them. She left. Sunday afternoon. They came together. Lauren, Jessica, and their mom. All 3. Like a united front. I opened the garage. Pointed at the boxes. It's all there. Take it and go. Jessica didn't waste a second. You're pathetic, she snapped. My sister deserves better. I shrugged. Then she won't have trouble finding it. Her mom tried a softer approach. You two should talk. Marriage takes work. I shook my head. I was disrespected. I made a decision. The boxes are there. They loaded everything up. 3 trips. Back and forth. The whole time Lauren kept looking at me, crying, waiting for me to change my mind. I didn't. When they finished, I closed the garage. Wait, she said quietly. Can we just talk? There's nothing to talk about. I'll change. Please. I looked at her. You had 3 years. You made your choices. So did I. They left. Monday morning. The narrative flipped. Jessica went online, posting about emotionally abusive husbands, narcissists, people who abandon family. She tagged Lauren. Didn't say my name, but she didn't have to. People figured it out fast. Messages started coming in within an hour. Friends, acquaintances, people picking sides without knowing anything. I didn't respond. I screenshotted everything. Sent it to my lawyer. Tuesday. Jessica called my workplace. My boss shut it down immediately. Told her if she called again, it would be reported as harassment. She followed up with an email. He forwarded it to me. Documented. Saved. Sent to my lawyer. Wednesday through Friday. It got worse. Fake reviews posted about my company, mentioning me by name. My boss had them removed. Someone egged my house. My security cameras caught everything. Saved. Archive. Then Friday night. Someone posted my home address online. Full address. Photo of my house. Public group. My lawyer called me. We have enough for a restraining order. I paused. Let's wait. Saturday. Jessica showed up again. Standing on my lawn. Screaming. Saying I had ruined her sister's life. I recorded everything from inside. Neighbors came out. Watched. Someone threatened to call the police. She left. 3 hours later. Their mom showed up. Different energy this time. Calm. Controlled. She knocked politely. This has gone too far, she said. I nodded. I agree. Then I looked her straight in the eye. Tell your daughter to stop the harassment. And in that moment, for the first time since all of this started, I felt completely certain. Walking away wasn't the mistake. It was the solution. I'm talking to you. Her mom stood there, arms crossed, voice tight with frustration. You're really going to divorce my daughter over one argument? I didn't raise my voice. She disrespected me. I made a decision. She shook her head. Family forgives. I met her eyes. I'm not part of your family anymore. That was the end of that conversation. She left without another word. Sunday was quiet. Too quiet. The kind of quiet that doesn't feel peaceful. It feels like something is loading in the background. So I used the time. I organized everything. Screenshots. Call logs. Voicemails. Security footage. Every message. Every incident. If this was going to get worse, and I had a feeling it would, I wanted to be ready. Marcus came over that night. He looked around, took in the calm. You think it's over? He asked. I shook my head. No. He nodded slowly. Yeah, me neither. He was right. Wednesday afternoon, I got a text from Lauren. Short. Straight to the point. She said she was agreeing to the divorce. But she was keeping the car. It's mine, she wrote. I need it for work. I stared at the message for a second before replying. The car is in both our names. I'm the primary. Insurance is under me. Return it. If you don't, I'm reporting it stolen. Her response came fast. You wouldn't. Thursday came. No car. No response. So I followed through. I called the non-emergency police line. Explained everything clearly. Pending divorce, shared vehicle, I'm the primary owner, she refuses to return it. They told me I had the right to report it. So I did. 2 hours later, they found it. Parked outside Jessica's apartment. And they took it. My phone rang almost immediately. Lauren. Screaming. You humiliated me, she yelled. You ruined my life. I stayed calm. You should have returned the car. That night, she showed up at my house again. Different tone this time. Pleading. I can't get to work without it, she said through the door. I didn't open it. There's Uber, I replied. Friday I got a call from an unknown number. I already knew who it was. Jessica. You're a joke, she said. My sister is better off without you. Good, I said. Then the divorce should make her happy. I hung up. After that, things got quieter. The divorce process moved forward. 30-day waiting period. No shared assets to fight over. No kids. No complications. My lawyer actually said it was one of the cleanest cases he'd seen in a while. It was just waiting. By week 3, I started hearing things. Through mutual friends. People talk. Apparently, things weren't going well for Lauren. At all. Jessica's amazing new boyfriend? Didn't last. 3 weeks. That's it. He got tired of every date turning into a group event, with 2 kids involved, and walked away. Said he wasn't signing up to be a stepdad. That left Jessica exactly where she started. Overwhelmed. Stressed. No support system. And guess who stepped in? Lauren. Every weekend, Jessica dropped the kids off with her. Now Lauren was the one stuck in that small apartment. Dealing with the chaos. The noise. The constant mess. It didn't take long before it started affecting everything else. One of Lauren's co-workers actually reached out to me. He said he was concerned. She's not doing well, he told me. She's been late. Missed shifts. Messing up schedules. Double booking patients. Apparently, the dentist had already warned her. One more mistake, and she'd be on probation. I know you're getting divorced, he said, but I thought you might still care. I paused. I do, I said. Just not enough to step back into that situation. Week 4. Things got worse. She lost her job. 3 days in a row, late by 30 minutes. That was it. They let her go. After that, the posts online changed. The tone shifted. Less anger. More desperation. Quotes about heartbreak. About betrayal. About finding yourself. Pictures with captions like self-care and healing journey. Photos of her and Jessica. Family over everything. Men come and go, but sisters are forever. Meanwhile, Jessica kept posting too. Long rants. About toxic men. About emotional abuse. About how society protects the wrong people. But something interesting started happening. In the comments, people weren't all on her side anymore. Some started pushing back. Asking questions. Noticing inconsistencies. Then Marcus called me one night. You're not gonna believe this, he said. Apparently, the sisters had a huge fight. Jessica needed a babysitter again. Another date. Of course. She told Lauren to watch the kids. Not asked. Told. Lauren said no. Said she already had plans. Jessica lost it. Completely. Started yelling about everything she had sacrificed. How she supported Lauren through the divorce. How she owed her. Then she said something that hit harder than anything else. You're selfish, she snapped. Ungrateful. And honestly, you're just like your ex-husband. And from what I heard, that one line, that's the one that broke her. They didn't speak for 4 days. Then Jessica apologized. Said she was stressed. Said she didn't mean it. Lauren forgave her. And just like that, the cycle reset. A few days later, my phone started ringing. I ignored it. It rang again. And again. 4 times in 10 minutes. On the 5th call, I answered. Yeah. There was a pause. Then her voice. Quiet, fragile, almost unrecognizable. Like she'd been crying for hours. I need to talk to you. I leaned back in my chair. We don't have anything to talk about. Please, she said. I made a mistake. I was wrong. I want to come back. I'll do anything. There it was. Everything had fallen apart for her. And suddenly, I looked like the solution again. Please, she continued. I'll change. I'll cut my sister off. I'll set boundaries. I swear. I can't do this anymore. I let a few seconds pass. The divorce is final in 6 days, I said calmly. But I still love you, she whispered. That doesn't change anything. You should have thought about that before you disrespected me, in my own house. Before you chose your sister over your marriage. I didn't mean to, she said quickly. I was stressed. She was always in my ear. Please. I closed my eyes for a second. Then, goodbye. I hung up. Blocked the number. Blocked everything. Phone. Socials. Email. That was it. Day 30. 2:15 p.m. My lawyer's message came through. It's done. You're officially divorced. Congratulations. I stared at the screen for a second. Then I texted Marcus. It's official. Dinner tonight. My treat. About time, he replied. That night we went to our usual spot. Wings. Burgers. Drinks. Nothing fancy. But it felt like a reset. Like I could finally breathe again. After that, life got quiet. In a good way. I focused on work. Got back into my routine. Started sleeping better. Eating better. Thinking clearer. The house felt different. Bigger. Lighter. Peaceful. I reorganized the garage. Finished projects I had been putting off for months. Built shelves. Cleaned everything out. It felt good to fix something and have it stay fixed. Eventually I started dating again. Nothing serious. Just meeting people. Having normal conversations. No pressure. No chaos. Just adults who respected boundaries. 6 weeks later. Saturday afternoon. Marcus came over to watch the game. We ordered wings, turned it on, settled in. Everything felt normal. Then, bang. Someone slammed on the door. Marcus looked at me. You expecting anyone? Nope. Bang. 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 Now the doorbell. Then both at once. Relentless. Marcus walked over and checked the peephole. He stepped back immediately. It's your ex, he said. And she does not look okay. Don't open it. She's not leaving. More pounding. Now yelling. I know you're in there. Your car's outside, open the door. Marcus glanced at me. You want me to handle it? I stood up. No. We'll do it together. We opened the door. She looked completely different. Hair messy. Makeup smeared. Wearing an old, stained sweatshirt. Her eyes were red, swollen. She'd been crying for a while. We need to talk, she said. No, we don't. Please, just 2 minutes. That's all I'm asking. And then she broke. Full-on sobbing. Words barely coming out between breaths. I messed up, she said. I made a huge mistake. My sister, she got in my head. I didn't see it at the time. You were the best thing in my life, and I ruined it. I let her talk. Let her get it all out. Every regret. Every apology. Every promise. Finally, I held up my hand. Time's up. I'm begging you, she said. I'll do anything. Just take me back. I shook my head. No. Why? She asked, barely holding it together. We were good together. We were happy. Marcus stepped forward. Come. Direct. Look, no offense, he said, but you had your chance. You had 3 years with a guy who treated you right. You threw it away because someone convinced you it wasn't enough. And now that everything's falling apart, you want it back. He paused. It doesn't work like that. It's too late. She just stood there, silent. And for the first time since all of this started, there was nothing left to say. We closed the door. And that was the end of it. This is between me and my husband, she said, her voice shaking. Ex-husband, Marcus corrected calmly. And honestly, showing up here after everything? That takes some nerve. She flinched. Then, somehow she tried to shift the blame again. My sister was just protecting me. Marcus let out a short laugh. No, he said. Your sister was dragging you down to her level. She looked stunned. Marcus didn't stop. Misery loves company, he continued. She's been through 2 divorces, overwhelmed with her own situation, chasing guys who leave the second they realize what they're signing up for. He took a sip of water, leaning casually against the doorframe. Instead of fixing her own life, she convinced you to blow yours up too. He shrugged. And you went along with it. She just stood there on the porch, crying. This is unbelievable, she said through tears. 3 years of marriage, and this is how it ends? Then she looked at me. And you? You've really moved on? I didn't answer. I didn't need to. She waited, hoping I'd break, hoping I'd say something, anything. I didn't. After a long minute, she turned, walked slowly to her car. An older sedan, probably a rental. She sat there for a moment, head resting against the steering wheel. Then, she drove away. Marcus closed the door. Silence filled the house. Then, he exhaled loudly and shook his head. Man, that was something. I let out a breath I didn't realize I was holding. Yeah. We went back to the couch, turned the game back on, and just relaxed. We talked about normal things again. Or the gym. Marcus told me about a recent date that went sideways because the girl brought her ex along as a friend. Just regular life. Nothing dramatic. Nothing heavy. Later that night after he left, I sat alone in my living room. And for the first time in a long time, it felt right. No noise. No tension. No pressure. No one trying to push past my boundaries. Just quiet. I put on some music. Looked around. Everything was exactly where it should be. My space. My home. My life. 3 years of marriage, gone. 6 months of chaos, over. All because of one thing. A line that got crossed. And a decision I refused to take back. And honestly, it was worth it. If there's anything to take from all of this, it's simple. Knowing your worth matters. Protecting your boundaries matters even more. You can be supportive. You can be kind. But that doesn't mean sacrificing your peace for someone else's convenience. Real growth comes from taking responsibility for your own choices. And sometimes, The hardest decision is also the right one. Be careful who you listen to. Not everyone giving advice wants what's best for you. Some people just don't want to be alone in their own chaos. At the end of the day, your peace is yours to protect. If this story resonated with you, feel free to share your thoughts, and stick around for more stories like this.